All right, good morning, everybody. Thanks for coming. I'm going to go ahead and call this meeting to order and ask for approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Motion, is that you, Pat?
Yep.
Thanks.
Second.
Second from James. Any discussion, additions, questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried, thank you. Moving on to approval of minutes from the August 12th DDA meeting.
Did we miss number 3?
Yeah, sorry.
It's early.
It's not that early. Public comment, I apologize. Hopefully we hear from some of you later. Okay, hearing none, sorry about that. Moving on to approval of the minutes, item 4.
I move to approve the minutes from the August 12th meeting.
Motion from Barry, thank you.
Support.
Support from Thad, discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried, thank you. Committee reports. I can start with the design. Barry, do we have anything?
Well, since we just met yesterday morning, there were no minutes in your packet, so I'm just gonna walk through my notes from that meeting just to bring
Bringing it around for a second, we missed number 5.
We missed the financials.
I didn't do it very well this morning. I was excited to hear from everybody out there. I don't have any coffee. Maybe that's the problem. All right, sorry, Barry.
Nope.
Financials, Tamara.
So I just have a few updates and then I have a question. We keep the lights on, account was closed.
Okay.
That money that was in the account, $25,848.95 was transferred to the general fund. The land acquisition, or that went into the land acquisition account. And then the $5,000 from the facade account, that account cannot yet be closed until that item is disputed. And I should know the next couple of days from Sheila about that. And then that account can be closed out.
When you say account, you mean specifically the checking accounts?
Yes.
Okay, and Connie is aware of this as well?
I haven't read her just yet.
Okay.
And I'll let her know. And then I have a question. Sheila had pointed out that from the general fund account, checks have been going to the Michigan business tax. The most recent one was July 20th. The payment still has Tyler's name on it. Do we want to put that updated or?
Michigan business, what?
Michigan business tax goes out, it looks like January, April, July. I don't know if it's a quarterly thing or.
You familiar with that, Barry?
I'm not.
Which whole thing?
But it would be, if it's Michigan, then it's
State withholdings?
possibly, yeah.
We asked Connie on that.
I
But
just,
that's probably just set up as an automatic,
Yeah.
and that's just the name associated with it, so
Okay.
in the state online system, there should be a place to update that contact name.
Okay.
I can talk to her about it too, if you'd like.
Please.
And that was,
Okay. Thanks, Dan. Any questions on financials? We don't have a report, so nothing to approve.
They're on the table.
Oh, they are? Thanks. These were not in the agenda packet, correct? Okay.
Would it be wise to save the approval for next month?
I think so.
So that everybody has a chance to look at it.
These were not posted online with the agenda. I don't
No,
think.
we weren't in time.
Okay, thanks, Cal. meeting for approval. Okay, moving back to committee reports, Barry.
Okay, so as I was saying, the design committee met yesterday morning, and I'm just gonna kind of walk through my notes just to bring the board up to speed with what we've been starting doing after a few months of being off. I guess I'll start with the downtown refuse collection, the dumpsters that we're contributing funding to in the amount of $80,000. The infrastructure is in place, the dumpster corrals are there. Jeff updated us that the punch list items have been done last week, so that construction is basically completed. The next phase of that is really with city staff and city council to change the ordinance to then allow people to use them once the pay structure is in place as to how people are going to be billed and some of those details are worked out. And Jeff told us that that process is moving forward and we should expect to hear something relatively soon on that. Some of the projects that were last year that are also in this year's budget include 2 capital projects. This past year, we funded repainting of the garbage cans and 10 of the planter containers that are in the downtown. That got completed over the summer, as well as 1 block of the sidewalk pavers got re-leveled. The idea being that we're going to whittle away at that each year. So in this year's budget, there's additional funding for doing more of those 2 projects, another set of planters, as well as more pavers. And we basically talked with Jeff about how to move forward with that. Hopeful that maybe that work even, this year, fiscal years could actually even happen this fall yet. But if it doesn't happen until spring, it's not a big deal. But we're starting earlier than last year when we started in February on that. The summer decorations, so the planters that are kind of getting at the end of their beautifulness for the summer, they're coming down next week. We're contemplating still doing something like we did last fall, where we had a few mums in certain places in the downtown. Banners will stay up until basically we start decorating for the holidays. So we're starting to tone it down with what works for the seasons. One thing we talked about, and I think I'll mention it here because it also touches on city, what to do, is it came out of our discussion around the new city brand and other areas that we could start implementing it. And the one thing that's within our district and kind of under our control is the sign on 31 that kind of just before you get to River Street going north. That would be a candidate to do some changes to it to incorporate the brand. It's not in our budget, so you can start thinking about it maybe for next year. But then Jeff also indicated that it might make sense for the DDA to work with the city and really look at all of the city signage, including the 2 city entrance signs, north and south, as well as ours. Maybe do a project to get into next year's budget for both groups to basically update them all in a consistent way. So I thought I'd mention that because obviously since that would be part money, we'll be coming back to this board, but since that's here, you probably haven't heard that yet from Jeff. Mention it to you, is that it seems like a logical thing.
Makes sense.
Although funding next year, who knows whether or not we're going to be cutting everything to make things balance or not. So, but it's something to be thinking about and put on the list of things that might be nice. And that's really the highlights. So
Thanks, Mary.
If I missed anything, Kyle, you were there.
Yeah.
And
Thank you. Any questions for Mary on design? Any other committee reports, business development? Okay, moving on to Stacy from the chamber. Welcome.
Hi, do you want me to stand, sit, what's the?
Maybe just for the microphone. Thanks.
Alright, thank you for having me, and I want to thank everyone that worked on the chamber DDA agreement. We're excited to partner with everyone here at the DDA, and then the contract took place September 1st, so last week I've already met with Barry after the business development meeting last month, and I met with Kyle already. We're trying to get everything transferred over, streamlined, so Cameron will probably be sitting down with you soon to talk about the financials, and maybe we can help to bring you up to speed on that. And then just getting my team ready to kind of dive right into the agreement and start working more closely with the DDA board. So Mark obviously is here on behalf of the economic development side. Christina is doing really well. She's been working with the merchants downtown, getting to know all of them, having bi-weekly meetings with all the merchants. And then we just took on an intern, so we're looking at having one of the projects that we're doing intern take on and kind of get to know all the businesses, addresses, business owners of all the properties in the downtown district, so that we can create a database, so that we can keep open lines of communication and kind of move through that. So that's where we're at. It's been, I think, about a week, so, and then I'll work with Kyle closely too, to kind of, look at what's in the office, and then start going through the DDA computer and making sure that we're fulfilling that commitment of agreement and tackling all the priority projects. So that's kind of a quick, easy report, so.
Great, thank you. Any questions for Stacy?
We're very glad to do it.
Thank you. Appreciate it. We're excited as well. Lots of exciting things happening. So.
Thanks, Stacy.
Okay,
Appreciate
thank
it.
you.
Are we ready for item 8?
Yeah, we just can't, our computer's done.
Okay.
I can talk through it, right?
That's fine, yes, it's a presentation, we just won't be able to put anything up.
So we have Kevin Cardell from is it Hay?
Hi, John Lewis.
Okay, thank you.
And it's not an issue that you can see my presentation. It will be a shame if you don't get to see the next one. So,
Can I make some copies?
Thanks for improvising.
my name is Kevin Cardell. I'm the Chief Operating Officer of Hodge Wood. My company works in the electric vehicle charging space. We're partnered with NL, and they're located in Italy. They're one of the largest sustainable energy companies in the entire world. We're actually backed by them. They're taking my company and we're growing us at a national level. What I'd like to propose this morning is for my company to put electric vehicle chargers in your downtown. My company will pay for the equipment, the installation, the maintenance, and also pay for all the electricity usage for each one of these electric vehicle chargers. In exchange for allowing my company to have a couple of parking spaces in your downtown, we'll also provide revenue share packages depending on the terms of the length of the agreement. The technology that we're proposing to put downtown is level 2 chargers, which we consider destination chargers. Those are a little bit on the, they're not on the storage side. The fast chargers are able to charge a vehicle under 30 minutes. These level 2s will take a couple of hours. But the thought is that these are destination chargers, so people can come downtown, they can have dinner, they can go shopping, spend some time, and then they'll get an additional 80 to 100 miles, or 80 to 120 miles of additional range on the vehicle. The model that we're proposing has been accepted in almost 40 municipalities throughout the state of Michigan now, and we're in talks with a couple more in Massachusetts and Georgia, so that expansion is very percent. I can get into additional details around the technology. I don't know how deep you would like to go. I'm a bit of a nerd myself, so I'm happy to talk a little bit longer. But just at a very high level, from a business standpoint, it's zero cost to the city. And all I ask is those 2 spaces are clear of snow and debris, and we'll provide revenue back to the city for the usage.
Do you have an idea where you're proposing to put these yet?
I'd like to do a sidewalk with that, but I have a few parking spaces that are parking lots that I toured through. close proximity of the shops, the restaurants, the new development that's about to close here. Great locations.
The way he made the same presentation at the council work session last night, it was pretty much left, after this, that we would want DDA input on where they would be located, and then we would take it back to council for the final approval. So, I thought one on River Street and maybe one in the parking lot across from the brewery. Those are the two sites that came to mind. Nothing sacred about them, but.
The brewery was one of my first choices.
So you mean in a parking lot?
Yeah.
Okay, not on River Street specifically, or in a parking lot?
It doesn't matter to me. I don't, personally, I don't see any detriment to having a parking space.
Gotcha.
But, well, what's everybody else think?
I think, what tends to happen is, if there's no electric vehicle charging at that station and parking is tight, there gets to be a lot of resentment from the people who are not driving electric vehicles for seeing an empty parking space. In a lot, not on River Street, but in a lot, makes more sense to me.
Most, actually, all but one of the municipalities' locations are going to be parking lots. There's only one on the west side of the street. The street park is kind of sacred, forbidden, hands off. And right now, the number of EVs on the road is about 3%. That's going to grow to 25% by 2025, and then depending on who you believe and what you read, it's a 50-50 split by 2030. So that resentment you'll probably see over the first few years, and then that will probably start to be that.
I have a question. How did you come by Manistee and?
So Michigan State University conducted a study back many years ago, or a few years ago, and they basically laid out a map that we were to build out electric vehicle charging network. Here are all the cities and municipalities that we would want to put them. Initially, Manistee was actually listed as a PCFC site, the fast charger site, so the 175 kilowatt chargers that can charge a full Tesla in 15 minutes. The rebates that were allocated for those PCFCs have all but evaporated. I believe there's only a couple left in the state. But the level 2 chargers and that availability, that's plenty of those to go about. So we were building out the map. We're partnered with WTA and Consumers Energy, and we said, hey, here's all the list of cities that are still missing EV charging that we would like to see EV charging. So we're taking a lot of that group.
I have a question. Are they specific to, is your charger specific to certain electric cars?
No, they are universal. So Tesla drivers have a different plug for their vehicles.
Do they need to have an adapter for your? Okay.
That adapter comes actually with the car.
Okay.
So they'll have that. But all vehicles need it, and motorcycles as well.
One of the things you mentioned last night was that you're initially looking at like 2 spaces for Manistee, maybe that could become 4.
Yep.
And that already kind of jumped on, 2 different locations. And I think we should think of this as, I think it'd be nice to have 2 different locations with 1 each, with expansions that could double into those locations to 2 and 2. So just kind of making sure that there's space for that. And something you mentioned last night in one of the cities where they have kind of an opposite ends so that
They do. So Boyne and East Grand Rapids are choosing 2 on each side of the downtown space. So they're actually looking at 4.
So just thinking in kind of where our lots are, I think the Memorial Park across from the brewery, that lot being one location. And then I think either on the other end, either in the lot across from the Bluefish or in the DDA platform lot that's on the river side next to the barber shop. I think either of those would be good locations down on that end.
I think the lot across from the Bluefish is not owned by the city. I think we lease it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that might be a.
Then that would not.
Yeah.
And the other lot that is the one next to the hotel, because half of that is city and half is the hotel's use.
That's the end of the road.
Yeah.
So do we have a consensus so I can So pretty set on someplace in the lot across from the brewery.
It's a big lot, it makes sense.
Okay.
Does the JuiceNet software that the consumers would be using, does that message the consumer when their vehicle's charged so they can be,
Not the
Park
software
it,
itself,
go.
their car will actually tell them.
Okay.
That's charged, actually. So the
Okay.
car will have you have the notification app on your phone, whether it's a Tesla or a BMW or whatever, and you'll be able to see how far along it is. And most drivers, they recommend that you don't start the vehicle over 90% just because it kind of saves the battery, and it doesn't degrade it as fast, and so you can actually kill the charging while you're still sitting at dinner. And it'll stop the car's acceptance of the charge at that point.
this is more for that, do we need ordinance? Do we have to look at ordinances to can't deal with people who park in the EV slots when they're not an EV?
No, we could just put up a sign under a traffic control order that would be enforceable by the police.
Okay.
That seems to be common.
Yep.
across the-
Yep.
Where did you drive from to get here?
Detroit.
How are you gonna get home?
I actually have my wife's CRV because of this very reason. I can get here, I just can't. I can't
Can't get
back. Yeah.
It's not a bad place to stay.
It's not. That's part of the problem that my company's trying to solve, is being able to get around the state. If you have anything but a Tesla, you can't go north of Manistee. There's no, Tesla has a bunch of superchargers, but if you don't have a Tesla, you can't use a supercharger, so, kind of locked out.
Sorry, go ahead, Bruce.
I'm sorry, as we grow, what's the lead time that you need to put in new stations?
I need to just check with consumers to make sure that they have enough power to that site, so they're gonna come in and do a whole make-ready process. We'll have our own meter, our own address, obviously. As much as I'd love for you to pay the bill for electricity, that bill will come to me. So we'll set all those pieces up. If we have a charger on one side of town and one on the other, and you say, we're getting a lot of use, I need to double that, 2 weeks, maybe. At that point, all I would do is I need to get my crew out and have the new chargers sent from my office. It's relatively quick. The whole process from today to chargers in the downtown lot, if you're moving forward, is no more than 8 weeks.
Is there a way for your company to monitor the use of those stations?
Absolutely.
And then decide when we should be approached again for?
Yep, I have access to every station that's in my network. I also have access to every station that my company has sold as well, so I can help customers if their chargers are getting a ton of use, say, hey, listen, you might want to think about doubling up here. You will also get a monthly report. By the 10th of every month, here is your usage. Based on the charger and the location, here's your revenue share, and when it gets to a point where they are, maxed out a bit, then we can come back and say, I'd like to add 2 more in the brewery parking lot if everyone's okay with stealing 2 more parking spots.
What's the average revenue sharing model look like in a smaller town like this with a couple of stations?
So the way that we are approaching it, it's all based on the length of the contract, and we're offering anywhere from 1 to 3 cents a kilowatt hour. So if I sit in charge for, I fill 100 kilowatts, and making, $3 per stop. So it's kind of, the revenue model based on that is more on the more frequent use. So in the first 12 to 18 months, it's probably going to be a little bit on the quieter side, but we're building this now preemptively because in 2025, when all these companies switch from internal combustion engines over to electric vehicles, we need to have this number built out.
Great. Any?
Just a thought on where we want to put a second one.
DDA owned lot, I would think next to Dick's Barber Shop would be an option. I like the idea of across from Bluefish, but not owning that is problematic. I think that'd be the most visible.
Is that good with the group? That would be the recommendation of council that they authorize placement of those 2 lots, and we'll go from there.
Okay. Kevin, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, moving on to item 9, new business, presentation of the Gateway Project, CL Development, and Will Road. Thank you.
Which one?
Yeah, just for the board, the packets that you just got handed, we're gonna need those back.
Okay.
Okay, one last.
They would like to leave there.
No, we did.
I'll take it with me.
Morning.
All right, good morning. Well, thank you for letting us present here today. Hopefully the package will be sufficient. So I just wanted to introduce the project we're working on. Before I do that, I want to introduce the team that's here. So this project is a joint project between Little River Holding and CL Real Estate. And so from Little River Holding, we've been working with their CEO, Eugene, as well as Tom St. Dennis and Kyle Levin, who are here in the room. And then myself, I'm Grant Cohen, I'm from CL Real Estate. We are a company out of Illinois, but we've been expanding in Michigan, and I'll jump on that in a second. So I'm the Michigan Development Associate for CL Real Estate, and then the president of CL Real Estate, David Watson, who's right there. So this project we're calling the Spirit of the Woods, the Manistee Gateway. And so we're very excited to present what we've been working on so far to show you today where we're headed with this. So just if you look to the first page there, we, like I said, we're working with a Little River Band, Auto India's Economic Development Corporation, our holding company, Little River Holding. And we find that our partnership makes a great match based on our values for what we want to see in the community. The tribe has always been based on second principles, and we find a similarity in our belief that with the love, the wisdom, respect, the bravery, honesty, humility, and truth for what they stand for, we do that with our developments. And so we found that this partnership works well together to create a project that honors the community, respects the community, and helps economically uplift it while providing a project that is transformative and impactful and good for everyone. And so the tribe is the Little River Holding Company has had experience in development previous to this project coming up. They've currently built 275-unit single-family housing down in Fruitport, Michigan. And then, of course, they work with the Little River Auto Indians who run the casinos, hotel resorts, and so that is the largest employer here in the county and continues to grow. And so there's some experience between those entities for development, which makes it right for another project coming down the line. And then a little bit more about CL Real Estate. We were founded a few years ago by a couple that you see on the slide there, slide number 4. So we were founded by Peter Minga and Peter Limberger and Peter Ferris, the CEO. They decided to create this company to invest in their downtowns in Illinois, to give back to the community and build a project that is transformational. They say each project that we do has to have 3 requirements: economically sustainable for the company, so we can continue to do more. The project itself also need to be transformative. Like they're saying, something that will have an impact in all senses of the word, from increasing tourism and sales to helping additional businesses come into town, to create viability for more businesses, to create a new project that honors architecture and design and quality of service, that uplifts the standard of what one would find in a downtown in each of these communities we participate in. And in general, our motto is big ideas, small towns. So we like to think big, even with small communities. People say sometimes it might not be possible to do something beyond what's already here, and we don't believe that. So we strive to do something even better than what people expect. And the last thing is got to be fun. So they're 3. It's got to be fun. Fun for us, fun for the community. If it's not fun, we don't want to do it. So that means we don't focus on building strip malls. We want to do something that is interesting and exciting. The next slide, number 5, shows you just one of our projects that we've done. This is our flagship. One of our sister companies is a commercial craft brewery in Illinois, and so this is the flagship brew pub in Buffalo. Just showing you some imagery into what it looks like. The economic impact there has been great on the community. Downtown has seen an increase in sales with all the businesses around the brew pub, and the building itself is continuing to expand. The next one is the Kiefer Hotel. This is a project down in Hillsdale, Michigan. This is our first project in Michigan as we've expanded into the state. We started here. This is a small boutique hotel, and we're hopefully going to be able to break ground before the year is over on
exciting. It's going to have a retail component with an upscale project in the town of about 8,000 people. So to this project site then, just to kind of reorientate everybody, it's on River Street, 31, it's at the corners on both sides, that's why it's called the Gateway. If you see A is on the north side of River Street along the river, and then B, C, D, and E encompass the south side. The site plan is kind of showing you our first rendering, high-level overview of what we're hoping to do here. So where the House of Flavors lot is, we're proposing to build our upscale boutique hotel. Across the street from that, to finish the gateway entrance, a smaller but still prominent building on that corner, the Welcome Center, and office spaces, and so that will be about a 2-story building, the hotel will be about a 4-story, and so together that makes a very eye-catching, transformative gateway to bring visitors in off of 31 into downtown. And as they continue down River Street, the next building where Cadillac Heating and Plumbing is, that is, we're proposing to have an event center there. And the last spot with memory lane detailing is we're proposing a business incubator, we're calling it the Manistee Marketplace. The next one is just kind of another elevation to show you the site plan in a little bit more detail. It features the backside of the hotel, so you can see a little plaza that's there, the indoor-outdoor pool. Beneath the little bandstand, it's a little hard to tell. We're proposing an underground parking structure that's kind of address the parking issues here as we expand with this activation of the street. Additionally, there will be a significant number of rooms. You can see the constituent components of each project down the street from the Welcome Center, the event space, and the incubator. The lower half of the development, the event space and the incubator, are lighter touch. So we're not going to be as dramatic. We're going to hopefully respect some of the historic looks of the building while leaving it for potential future growth. The next slide there is kind of features the gateway from street level. I want to stress these are renderings, early concepts. This is where we're starting from. We've come a long way to get to this point, but we're excited for what we've got so far. It will continue to change and grow as we continue to develop the project. But from this angle here, you can see the entrance way to downtown, with the left side being the Welcome Center, which we've got outlined in the CBD to be a tenant in that space to create the Welcome Space, which is a great location for it, as well as some office space above that we'll be leasing out. And across the street, you'll see the hotel there. The next one just shows you a few of the inspirational images of the CBD that provided for what they're thinking. This Welcome Space could look like. As you can see, these are ones that already exist, so there's not been any design on the inside, but the idea is to create something that is very open and very prominent that people can see as they drive through the town, as they're driving down 31. It's going to be able to feature a lot of the history of the area, being interactive, while also introducing the community to the different traveling and visitor aspects they can participate in across the county, across the region. So that's golf courses, resorts, additional hiking trails, close there at the beach. And so it's a great way to really encourage longer stays here and longer exploration of the beauty and qualities of Manistee campus. The next building is the event space, and so the Cadillac Heating and Plumbing building, you may not notice from the street, but on the inside, actually it's hard to tell on the inside too, there's a large bow truss ceiling that goes over the whole space, and it's beautiful. There's been a push in market development here, and cities across the country taking these old buildings, a lot of historic downtowns have a large bow truss building. They were typically garages of some sort, and turning them into event spaces, and so this is a great opportunity to do that here. And again, pushing the economic benefits of it by having a large event space. They can seat approximately, from our early estimates, about 300 for dinner seating. It creates a lot of opportunity for a series of different events within the downtown block year-round, and so it helps increase activities, tourism, entertainment. The last spot is the Manistee Marketplace, and so this is a proposal to create a low barrier entry opportunity for new entrepreneurs here in Manistee, a chance for them to get one of these little incubator spaces. This is similar to the Shelley program in Muskegon. They've found great success in the couple of years they've been having it run. They've gotten so many applicants that they can choose who gets to go in there every year, and it helps create a diverse new range of businesses that people like to come down and see. It also helps make it easier for people to start a new business and then encourage them to learn with local institutional help how to create a business plan, marketing plan, running financing, and hoping that they can then take that and go into a storefront here in the downtown and continue to fill in the gaps that are present, which will help uplift everything, as well as continuing to bring in new businesses every year. So Muskegon has found a great success to that. They put it near the farmers market, and they've found annually a lot more traffic comes down walking through their downtown, through these spaces. So it's been seen to work, not just in Muskegon. They modeled it off of somewhere in Massachusetts. So it has had a track record of success, and we're excited to be able to bring this opportunity here to downtown Manistee as well. Just here, highlighting the economic impact, this will be will have a very positive impact both in direct job creation here and indirect job creation. And so by indirect, that means with increased tourism, increased visitors here to the city, that will hopefully draw more people to the retail shops here in the downtown block. And that will create a need for more jobs, more employment. And like I said earlier, it helps increase the viability of new businesses. Trendier businesses that some may say won't succeed in a small town. But if you have a hotel located here within the center block, keeping the guests here in the town, walking around through the community, it helps create an opportunity for new businesses to try something a little bit more risky from a business model that may not survive otherwise. And so this helps increase the diverse opportunities that are available for future business growth here. And that creates new jobs in addition to the direct jobs created here at the hotel. And there will also be an increased revenue base as well, with the new tax base by creating these properties and revenue is going in, and that will help both DDA and the CBP and other institutions here in town. Some additional benefits that come from the project. We, from the operator standpoint, want to treat the employees really well. We believe in treating our employees well to create a quality product, both to help their lives, to help the community, and to help retention and help keep the project itself up to a high standard. So it helps everybody if we work together and really invest in our employees. And so with this, we're going to help provide continuing education. We're going to provide 67% jobs, higher than wage if we can, really increasing what people can, what the employees can get while they're here, as well as doing on-the-job training and working on internships, apprenticeships, hopefully getting people to work in the kitchen or helping them actually get real-world experience from being a participant in this project. And so we're excited about that, as well as, like I said, the impact won't just be here in the downtown. It will encourage visitors to stay here instead of going north, stopping here and seeing what is already here and bringing them in through the downtown further. And catching their attention with such a prominent gateway should really help move that along. And so it'll stay here, it'll explore the town, and it'll explore the region. So for timeline-wise, right now, the rest of this year, we're going to be working on getting our applications to the city for various things and permitting approvals, finalizing the details of the project. We've been working at this for a couple of years now. We've gotten this far along. We're very excited. We've still got progress to go before we're really underway. And so we hope that we can secure things between the end of this year and next year. And we're hoping, if the world gets better as things move on, that we can push toward construction in 21, but we can't guarantee that, but we're hoping, we're trying, and so far we're confident we can. But we'll see. So with that, that's everything. So if you have any questions, I'm going to bring up Nathan so he can take your questions and we can see another face, half of the face.
Thank you, Brent.
I have a question. So do you guys, have we gotten any information from like Cadillac Plumbing or the memory lane detailing that they're interested in getting out of those spaces? Or
The properties are,
are they on another sale right now?
site control has been already obtained.
Oh, there's, okay.
Morning. Good morning. Happy to answer any questions you have if I can.
Thanks, Nate.
Sorry, for me, it's either glasses or masks. So, I can't see, but I'm not sure.
Any questions for Nathan? I'm pretty excited about it. It's not a question. I think it will be a real catalyst, and being a commercial property owner downtown, it just makes me really excited about what we can do with our properties if something like this happens, and we've been waiting for an opportunity like that, so.
Excellent. Yeah, I think that's really the key for projects like these. Being transformative, encouraging other people to do things, and making it viable for them to do things. So we can't do it all. And we don't try to, imagine that we can, but all together, be a great community effort to create some good things.
And I would say that, echo Kyle's statements. This obviously is going to be transformational. We've got, one that's going to recreate that whole block and hopefully encourage others to invest. And then if you look at the other end, the opportunities we have there, this is a good time to be in Manistee. This is really great. Yeah, appreciate you coming up and wanting to get involved.
Very happy to be here.
Jody?
This is the second time I've seen this presentation, so you'll have to excuse me, but I've already had questions formulating since I've seen it the
No
first
problem at
time.
all.
So the other question I have, will you guys bring in like a management company, or are you gonna have a flag hotel? What is the plan?
We haven't made all the decisions yet, but we do expect there will be a flag in the hotel, and we do expect to bring in a professional hotel operator.
Okay.
So we still haven't made all those decisions yet.
So is the underground garage going to be street level? It's not going to be underground because you guys are right on the water there, right? Or does that not?
Well, we're still working on the design. It will be, you will go down into it. So we're
Okay.
trying to create a platform
Okay.
for the hotel, and plaza behind the hotel is a through the front. The building itself is L-shaped, so it will bring that plaza, the parking lot should be underneath the hotel plaza itself.
You have, I'm sure you're going to need something from DDA. Do you have an idea of what you need us to be doing?
Well, we've asked the city to help us with estimating what the tax increment will be. We will be asking for probably a share of the tax increment. Right now, we're looking at how much it is. So we'll be coming back and we get more information on that to see, because it will, projects like this require some gap financing. And we would like to see what's possible there while still leaving the DDA some money to spend on the downtown.
Any other questions for Nathan? Thanks for making the trip, Nathan.
Happy to be here.
Tyler, thank you very much, appreciate it. Okay. Moving on to public comment. John? No? Okay. Hearing none? Board member comments.
Yes, I have one or two. First of all, I just want to point out, and I think Mayor Grant hit on it a little bit. They're here because of the development day that was put on by the chamber several years ago. So if anybody questions the value of our relationship with the chamber, that shows you they were working for us or on behalf of the community well in advance of our formal partnership. And also out of that, same developers, they retained Joe Hollander's interest in our community, which led to his Hillcrest development that should be breaking down this month. So just throwing that out there in case you hear anybody grousing about why are we partnering with the chamber, perfect examples. So just want to say thanks to the chamber.
All positive, thank you.
And actually, if I could chime in on that, I was thinking along similar things, but kind of a different path. Really thank Stacy and her board, who probably 5 years ago really started an effort to bring the DDA, CBP, and chamber together. We had some interesting conversations. Out of that, ultimately led this organization to acquire the American Cleaners property, and many discussions with Tyler as our director director at the time on what to do in that area while that developer day is happening and how all those things come together. I mean, it takes time sometimes, but working together, we can accomplish a lot of stuff. So thank you, Stacy, and your board for starting those seeds years ago.
I just have one question. Where are we with the license agreement with the college? Are we getting close?
With the what?
The license agreement with the college, or the lease agreement?
Lease agreement. Barry and I talked yesterday about Jimmy, so we need to meet.
Okay.
That's where we're at. Any other board member comments?
I do have one more. This ties back to comments Stacy made in her report with regards to the merchant meetings. I'm getting a little bit concerned that we as a board aren't really involved anymore in the merchants and their meetings. I don't even know when those meetings are anymore, so there's not good communication, I think, of publicizing when they are. But I almost see that as like a committee of this board. And generally, all of our committees have at least one or two, if not three, members of the board participating. And right now, I don't think there's any board members that are participating in that group. And I think we need to think about how, we want, because the stuff that happens, that's our constituency. If we're not involved in understanding what their problems are and the day-to-day stuff that they have to deal with, I don't think we can do our job effectively. So I'm just concerned that I see a disconnect growing between those different efforts. So I just want to
That's a
make
good
that
point.
comment.
Yeah, and I, like Stacy mentioned, I know Christine has been involved, which will be helpful with the agreement. James, are you attending those meetings at all?
It's been a little bit.
Okay.
It's been a little bit. It's all on Zoom still.
Oh, is it?
Quite honestly, I haven't been there in a while, so I can't
Yeah.
really speak to what's
Okay.
going on, but it's been a lot of, how's everybody doing? And I don't,
Do some-
they don't have time for that.
James, do some soul searching.
Yeah.
When they're held, I'd be willing to attend. Because, if you give me an idea when they are.
I think they're every other Tuesday. I don't know if it's the first or second Tuesday of the month at 8:30. So I can have Christina send you a calendar.
Yeah, I'm out. I've got staff meetings every Tuesday.
Okay.
Having Caitlin's old DDA laptop, the notices pop up all the time, so Stacy will be able to tell you.
And I'm not currently sitting on a committee, so I'd be happy to commit to attending those.
That'd be great.
So as long as I get the information on when and where and how to get in, so.
And I think too, once we can kind of create that database, we already have the program that we use through the chamber. So if we can pull the DDA and make a group in our current database for that, then there can be better communication for some of those meetings. Because I think right now they're using a Facebook group and there might be a Google group too. So if we can just, what works for everybody, streamline that, and we can do newsletters. There's a lot of different ways that we can market that and communicate with all the building owners and the merchants downtown, as well as the board, so.
And if the communication's there and the board knows when these are happening, if, board members could just occasionally even pop in and join one, you don't have to go to all of them, but I think that'd be nice. Thanks, Barry.
I have a comment.
Yeah.
If I may, please. I hope you understand that I had to ask some questions of this group that showed us this presentation. Not because of, and while I sit on this board as a resident of Manistee, I have a business interest with the casino. And there are some questions from people over there of who is going to be running this, who is going to be managing downtown. And this project that Little River Holdings is putting forth. I don't know that we all agree over at the casino that a competing interest that all falls under the umbrella of the tribe is something that we have questions about. And I hope you understand that I needed to ask these questions, and we have not been able to get them to say a management company is coming in and running this hotel. or these other business interests under the umbrella of this project.
I would be shocked if they don't bring in a management company, based on my knowledge of the project. Yeah, it's just, everything I've heard is about management company, so. I don't, obviously yet to be seen, but that's my.
Just the scale alone,
Huh?
just the scale alone, there would be something.
But I think the point that I'm trying to make and the point that there are, the people at the resort are questioning is that there is a large group of people who have an enormous amount of experience running hotels, running restaurants, running event centers over in that resort. I guess is why we're asking these questions.
Okay.
And so, and the resort never wants to be a competitor to downtown. The resort wants to support downtown. So, again, I just, you know, this is the second time I've seen this presentation, and things are formulating, questions are being asked, and I'm not here as a representative of the resort, I'm here as a resident of the county, but
And I'm personally not,
I'm curious.
I'm personally not offended by the questions you asked. I
Okay.
think those are good questions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you like me to have Mark kind of ask if you had more specific questions? Because he's like the direct line of communication with that project right now. So if there's, you know, he would be your point of contact.
Yeah, I don't know that I feel comfortable speaking on behalf of the resort. Has Mark tried to reach out to Andrew at all?
I don't believe so.
Okay, maybe that would be something to consider. You know, and these are concerns that are not coming just from me. They're concerns coming from the hotel director, from the general manager, from the assistant general manager. And keep in mind too, I am a tribal member. So this is a group that's representing the tribe downtown, and as a tribal member, I want to see this succeed. I don't want the tribe to get a black eye over this, that if it isn't successful, or if it's not being managed properly, or if it turns into, I mean, I have a lot of interest in this, and so I want to be sure that it doesn't make this town look bad, or the tribe look bad, or the resort look bad.
Yeah.
And
I
these
understand.
are, and this is public comment, I'm on the record here saying this stuff, so
Okay.
it's making me a little nervous to do that, but I feel like I have to say it, so.
Thanks, Jody. Anyone else?
Or to adjourn.
Motion from Pat to adjourn.
Were we supposed to?
Yeah, I'll